truth, and life. Here is the Brother Leon Show. You better recognize.
What's going on, listeners? This is your boy, Brother Leon, and you are tuning into another episode of the Brother Leon Show. So today, guys, I just want to gear you up because we are going to have the circus is going to come to Washington, D.C. on January the 6th. I don't know if you have been covering the news or not, but right now what is happening is that you have Republican politicians. They are going to go and disrupt everything in Washington. You got evangelicals coming, people of faith coming down to Washington. And the crazy part is that at the end of the day, I'm like, you are going to interrupt the certification of the electoral-college because it didn't go your way. And so the crazy thing is that I hear so many people that, they're saying that, oh man, we need to pray. We need this. We got to pray because I believe that God wants to. Man, please. God done said everything. That's the God knows truth. And one thing you got to realize is that people of faith, you got to wake up. You got to wake up and begin to see the motivations of men. And I said it a while back because if you look at what is being projected, the election, the election process is unfair. President Trump, he should have won. And I mean, everybody has an opinion. But the crazy thing about it is that when you deal with facts and when you deal with truth, nobody wants to hear that. Even when it comes down to scripture, even when it comes down to evidence, nobody wants to hear that. So my question is, you took this to the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, and you still don't believe it. I'm going to tell you right now, what is happening in this country and in this nation is strong delusion. And the one thing that I want you guys to see is this, is that, man, we can't begin to play like this because this will start off a civil war. Because these will be the same people. And I'm going to tell you this, it's not even about President Trump any longer. It's about the ideology that he holds on to. And that's the God knows truth. It's about that spirit of nationalism that was masked as patriotism. But it all boils down to white supremacy. And the crazy thing that I want you guys to understand and know is this, is that racism is and will always be a team sport. And if it can get a politician, it will get a politician. And if it can get a pastor, it will get a pastor. If it can buy the prophetic voice, it will buy the prophetic voice. Because the one thing that a lot of you people don't want to hear is this, is that even though this is a Christian nation, this is a nation that is compromised of all types of religions. And the one thing that you don't want to hear right now is that the atheist is calling you on your hypocrisy. So I will even go out and far and say that, hey, y'all don't want to be the prophet? Hear the voice of the atheist, because now that prophet is making you look stupid and silly. And I ain't gonna lie, man. Some of you guys, oh my God, the controversy and the conspiracy that is coming out of your mouth. It's not even revelation anymore. You know what? And the crazy thing about this is that you have platforms like Holy Kool-Aid blowing up, because now they are taking all your stuff and making you look like fools. And I applaud Holy Kool-Aid. I applaud them because somebody has to get out here and show the house of Israel their sins. The house of Judah and Israel their sins. And so, man, I'm like, yo, look, if you ain't going to listen to the Bible, then listen to people that don't believe like you. But then again, y'all really don't give a damn. Because the only thing that you are, really concerned about is your own agenda. But I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm telling you, people wake up. and begin to look at what is being said. Because here it is, you got men of God saying one thing and then they do something else. Or better yet, the prophecy is changing. And I told you this. I'm like, man, I'm going to tell you, you're going to see these so-called false prophets, these false prophets, these so-called men of God. You're going to see them change up because, man, they're going to get in line. It's very lucrative right now to say what is being said right now. I'm not gonna recognize Joe Biden as president. And the crazy thing about it is that y'all Negroes get me. Some of y'all white people get me because y'all the same people that swear by faith, but yet don't want to operate out of Romans chapter 13. Matter of fact, let's go over there. Let me read that. Romans chapter 13, as I pull it up on my Bible app. Let me go there. So give me a minute. Let every soul be subject unto the high powers. For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So the crazy thing is that you don't want to believe the power of the courts, but yet you have a president that talks about law and order, but yet now he's being recorded saying, hey, I need for you to find me some votes. And he's been trying to wheel and deal and get everybody to overthrow a process that is protected by the Constitution. So my question is, all you guys that God has called you to uphold the Constitution, why are you silent? Why are you this? For every black minister, I'd like to know the same question. Why are you silent when you know that the attack that's being projected are urban cities, are black cities? Cities like Detroit, cities like Milwaukee, cities like Atlanta, cities like Philadelphia. Why are you staying silent? Why is it that you didn't say anything? Because you done drank the Kool-Aid just like the next man drank the Kool-Aid. And the crazy thing is that what we don't want to hear and what we don't want to believe is that there's Uncle Toms out here. Yes, there's Uncle Toms. I'm going to tell you that right now. We got plantation preachers out here. We got plantation politicians out here who are gonna stand by just like the Proud Boys and stand back and wait for their turn to take and attack the black community. Yeah, I said it. You just like white supremacists. Just like them. But the difference is you a nigga with black skin. And at the end of the day, man, please, I don't want to hear it. Ain't no way in the world that you can explain to me how any black preacher can stand with this current president. Seriously. When you look at what is being said, when you look at what he said about Africa, when you look at what he said about urban cities and the attack. And the crazy thing is that the Republican Party is not the Republican Party of old. And the crazy thing, like I said, I'm like, man, this man ain't Democrat. He ain't Republican. He is for himself. And the crazy thing about it is that, before he gets up out of here, he going to take and destroy it all. And that's the God knows truth. He going to throw monkey wrenches and all types of shit. And y'all don't want to hear it. And you don't want to believe it. But yet you hold on to that Bible. You hold on to the word of these false prophets. And you hold on to conspiracy theory more than you hold on to truth. And the crazy thing that I want you listeners to understand is that they will give you religion. They will give you religion. They will give you titles. They will give you whatever they need to keep them seats filled, to keep you put money in that daggone offering bucket. But yet they won't give you truth. And they can't even handle the truth. So let me go over here. Let me give you a little something. There is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. And so here's the thing. Every person swears up and down that at the end of the day that they are doing God service. Even the Klan thought that way. And these are the same people that will promote pro-life. But the crazy thing about it is that why is it that the Department of Justice has now closed the book on Tamir Rice, who's aborted outside the womb, just like every other black boy that has been attacked by the violence of white supremacists and rogue police. And yet you still stay silent, and you have the audacity to say that God wants President Trump to have a second term. But yet you stay silent. You stay silent. So my question is, why the silence? Why the silence? Because at the end of the day, what you're going to see on January the 6th is people praying, Lord, stop them nigga votes. God, stop them nigga votes. Stop them in Philadelphia, Jesus. Stop them in Detroit, Jesus. We don't want them nigga votes getting out. In the name of Jesus, I bind the spirit of voter fraud. Stop them nigga votes. That's what you're saying. And yeah, I'm being extra with it. But that is what you are saying. You asking God to silent people's choice. And then you're praying that God would empower men to turn over a process in our country that has been for years. The electoral process. Turn it over. Disregard the Constitution. Disregard the voices of the people, but turn it over in our favor because y'all the only ones that benefit. Man, y'all don't even want to put out $2,000 to people. And the crazy thing about it is that every politician, every senator, every congressman is well paid. Not like the essential worker. But these are the same people, man, that convince you to vote against your own interests, to go out here and fight for them, to die for them, and yet they stay insulated wherever they are. I'm telling you, man, that is the biggest scam ever. That I can get you to die for me. The biggest scam ever. I can get you to die for me. I can get you to fight for my cause. Because I put the fear on the inside of you to make you think that people are taking your power, that they're taking over the nation, that this nation's going to go to hell. I'm going to tell you this. This nation didn't go to hell under Obama. This nation didn't go to hell under Bush. This nation didn't go to hell under Bill Clinton. And this nation sure as hell didn't go to hell under President Trump. And this nation is not going to go to hell with President-elect Joe Biden. Because I look at it, there's a grace over our country, over our nation. And the one thing that needs to happen is that you guys, you sound like Doubting Thomas. Unless I'm able to put my hand in the print of his palm and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe. That's what you guys sound like. You sound like, first it was, they ain't counting all the votes. I'm going to wait till the electoral-college. Then the electoral-college came and passed. Well, we're going to wait till January 6th. And then some of you have even have the audacity to say, well, we're going to wait till January 20th. I ain't going to believe until then. And even then, we got to see and wait. And some of y'all niggas is actually praying that something will happen to President-elect. Seriously. Some of y'all are actually praying that. You ain't going to admit it, but that's what you're doing. You praying that something will pop off so that it'll give the illusion that God don't want him in office. But the craziest thing about it is that you have to begin to look at what the presidency really is. And you have to begin to look at it, the permissible will of God and the perfect will of God. God wanted the children of Israel to worship him as king. And I'm going to tell you this, no matter who is president, God is king. That's the God knows truth. But when you look at the presidents, the presidential office, you got to look at it as a symbolism of a king. And what did God tell the prophet? He said, yo, and I'm paraphrasing, that, the king, he's going to tax the people. He's going to, put your sons and daughters in wars. And what has happened with our nation? It has been that way. Our sons and daughters have been in wars. Our people are taxed. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now, man, we can't begin to give into this whole shadow coup, whatever you want to call it. I just call it bullshit. Because at the end of the day, say what you want. Your prophecy fell to the ground because you was putting on major platforms election day, re-election. And what has it been? And every place that you have said yes, every door has slammed no. That's the God knows truth. Some of you right now are preparing to go to Washington. Go to Washington. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, man, it might end up being the same thing. What you going to do then? You going to be rioting? Are you guys going to be tearing up stuff in Washington? Do we get to call you Antifa? Are the police going to be sicked on you? Is the National Guard going to be sicked on you using tear gas to clear you the hell out? That's what I like to know. But the crazy thing is that you begin to worship and embrace conspiracy theory. It's not even true. But then the crazy thing is that, people are saying, well, you got to look at the news source. A lot of people are saying, well, you can't believe mainstream media. But I'm going to tell you this, the other types of media, they backing down off of what they saying because they know that they getting ready to get sued. Newsmax, One American Network. I'm waiting for them to come against Kenneth Copeland and them because they broadcasting the same thing. TBN too, same thing. I'm waiting on that. But let me give you this. And I got this off of YouTube.
Influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States. The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election after one constitutional referendum came out the way he did not want it to come out. We have one very strong witness who has explained how it all works. His affidavit is attached to the pleadings of Lynn Wood in the lawsuit he filed in Georgia. It is a stunning, detailed affidavit because he was with Hugo Chavez while he was being briefed on how it worked. He was with Hugo Chavez when he saw it operate to make sure the election came out his way. That was the express purpose for creating this software. He has seen it operate, and as soon as he saw the multiple states shut down the voting on the night of the election, he knew the same thing was happening here, that was what had gone on. Now, the software itself was created with so many variables and so many back doors that can be hooked up to the internet or a thumb drive stuck in it or whatever. But one of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to President Biden, which we might never have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system. And that's what caused them to have to shut down in the states they shut down in. That's when they came in the back door with all the mail-in ballots, many of which they had actually fabricated. Some were on pristine paper with identically matching perfect circle dots for Mr. Biden. Others were shoved in batches. They're always put in a certain number of batches, and people would rerun the same batch. This corresponds to our statistical evidence that shows incredible spikes in the vote counts at particular times, and that corresponds to eyewitness testimony of numerous people who have come forward and said they saw the ballots come in the back door at that time. Notably, the Dominion executives are nowhere to be found now. They are moving their offices overnight to different places. Their office in Toronto was shared with one of the Soros entities. One of the leaders of the Dominion project overall is Lord Malloch Brown, Mr. Soros' number 2 person in the UK, and part of his organization. There are ties of the Dominion leadership to the Clinton Foundation and to other known politicians in this country. Just to give you a brief description of how this worked, I'm going to quote from a letter that was written, and I will read that to make sure I get the quotes right. This person was objecting to the United States acquisition of Sequoia voting systems by Smartmatic, a foreign-owned company. I believe this transaction raises exactly the sort of foreign ownership issues that CFIUS is best positioned to examine for national security purposes. It's undisputed that Smartmatic is foreign-owned and it has acquired Sequoia. They keep changing the names as they go along. Different times when a problem comes up, they just create another corporation and call it a different name. But it was a voting machine company doing business in the United States. Sequoia voting machines were used to record over 125 million votes during the 2004 presidential election in the United States. Smartmatic now acknowledges that Antonio Mujica, a Venezuelan businessman, has controlling interest in Smartmatic, but the company has not revealed who all the Smartmatic owners are. According to the press, Smartmatic's owners are hidden through a web of offshore private entities, and that is, in fact, true. Smartmatic has been associated with the Venezuelan government led by Hugo Chavez, which is openly hostile to the United States, and of course, as we all know, communistic and really brutalizing its own people. The system has been continued there by Mr. Maduro and ensured his election. Smartmatic's possible connection to the Venezuelan government poses a potential national security concern in the context of its acquisition of Sequoia, because electronic voting machines are susceptible to tampering, and insiders are in the best position to engage in such tampering. This letter expresses concern of the Chicago 2006 primary election. And it ends by saying the products and services that are of Venezuelan origin, and evaluate Smartmatic's ownership to determine who could have influence and control over these and other Sequoia products and services are important to the national security of the United States. This letter was written to Hank Paulson on October 6, 2006 by Congresswoman Carolyn B. Maloney. Senators Klobuchar and Warren have raised these concerns as recently as December 2019. Why our government has not taken them seriously is beyond my comprehension, unless they have, some of the 3-letter agencies have used them themselves in other parts of the world. We know that the technology was exported to affect an election in Argentina. That's admitted by our friend who wrote the affidavit about Hugo Chavez and his interest in Smartmatic. Again, in 2006, Carolyn Maloney wrote the Honorable John Snow, the Secretary of the Treasury, about the issues. Speaking of Smartmatic's leadership, one of the Smartmatic patent holders, Eric Coomer, I believe his name is on the web as being recorded in a conversation.
I'm serious. I can't go no more. Let me give you this.
Since Election Day, various guests, attorneys, and elected officials have appeared on Newsmax and offered opinions and claims about Smartmatic and Dominion Systems, both companies that offer voting software in the U.S., and Newsmax would like to clarify its news coverage and note that it has not reported as true certain claims made about these companies. There are several facts our viewers and readers should be aware of. Newsmax has found no evidence that either Dominion Dominion or Smartmatic owns the other or has any business association with each other. We have no evidence that Dominion uses Smartmatic software or vice versa. No evidence has been offered that Dominion or Smartmatic used software or reprogrammed software that manipulated votes in the 2020 election. Smartmatic has stated that its software was only used in the 2020 election in Los Angeles, was not used in any battleground state contested by the Trump campaign. Newsmax has no evidence to the contrary. Dominion has stated the company has no ownership relationship with the Pelosi family, the Feinstein family, the Clinton family, Hugo Chavez, or the government of Venezuela. Neither Dominion nor Smartmatic has any relationship with George Soros. Smartmatic is a U.S. company and not owned by the Venezuelan government, Hugo Chavez, or any foreign official or entity. Smartmatic states that it has no operations in Venezuela. While the company did election projects in Venezuela from 2004 to 2017, it was never founded by Hugo Chavez, nor did it have a corrupt relationship with him or the Venezuelan government. For more on this, please go to our website at newsmax.com.
There it is.
Read facts about Dominion.
There it is. There it is. Yo, let me give you this.
His first interview since he was dismissed, Krebs tells us why he believes the vote was accurate and why saying otherwise puts the country in danger.
I have confidence in the security of this election because I know the work that we've done for 4 years in support of our state and local partners. I know the work that the intelligence community has done, that the Department of Defense has done, that the FBI has done, that my team has done. I know that these systems are more secure. I know, based on what we have seen, that any attacks on the election were not successful.
Hey, man, it's a lot, and that's the God knows truth. It's a whole lot, and nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear, credible sources that are even within the Republican Party. So you have to ask yourself, why? You want to know why? Because there's strong delusion. That's why. There's fear. And the crazy part about it is that at the end of the day, that's all it is. That is all it is. And that's the God knows truth. It's nothing but fear. Fear-mongering at its best. And at the end of the day, man, I'm telling you, man, something got to give. And we got to begin to wake up and see what is actually going on. And that's the God knows truth. We got to begin to see what's going on because it'll be the outcome of our country. Seriously. Ain't nothing but strong delusion that's being had right now. Seriously.
Saying that, Brad, having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having.
Well, but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Ryan?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. So tell me, Brad, what are we going to do? We won the election, and it's not fair to take it away from us like this. And it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. For instance, I'm hearing Ryan, and he's probably, I'm sure, a great lawyer and everything, but he's making statements about those ballots that he doesn't know. But he's making them with such, he did make them with surety, but now I think he's less sure, because the answer is they all went to Biden. And that alone wins us the election by a lot. You know, so.
Mr. President, you have people that submit information, and we have our people that submit information, and then it comes before the court, and the court then has to make a determination. We have to stand by our numbers. We believe our numbers are right.
There it is.
Well, under law, you're not allowed to give faulty election results, okay? You're not allowed to do that, and that's what you've done. This is a faulty election result. And honestly, this should go very fast. You should meet tomorrow, because you have a big election coming up, and because of what you've done to the president, you know, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Okay? They hate it. And they're going to vote. And if you would be respected, if this thing could be straightened out before the election. You have a big election coming up on Tuesday based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. You know, I mean, having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry.
I'm telling you. What more? Seriously. Let me give you this, and this is the last one.
All of it. This is elections. This is the backbone of democracy, and all of you who have not said a damn word are complicit in this. I'm going to do my best to keep it together, because it has all gone too far. All of it. Joe DeGenova today asked for Chris Krebs, a patriot who ran CISA, to be shot. A 20-something tech in Gwinnett County today has death threats and a noose put out saying he should be hung for treason because he was transferring a report on batches from an EMS to a county computer so he could read it. It has to stop. Mr. President, you have not condemned these actions or this language. Senators, you have not condemned this language or these actions. This has to stop. We need you to step up, and if you're going to take a position of leadership, show some. My boss, Secretary Raffensperger, his address is out there. They have people doing caravans in front of their house. They've had people come onto their property. Tricia, his wife of 40 years, is getting sexualized threats through her cell phone. It has to stop.
I'm done. I'm serious. Because at the end of the day, how can we as people of faith stand by? How is we as people of faith can sit by and allow these type of things to happen and be complicit? Because I like what Martin Luther King said. It will not be the words of our enemies that we remember, but it will be the silence of our friends. And the church is supposed to be a friend to the community. It's supposed to be the moral compass. But yet at the end of the day, you've given yourselves over to charismatic witchcraft. You've given yourselves over to manipulation. You have decided that we are not going to follow what the principle of Scripture even means. because our agenda is even greater than the God that we worship. President Trump has now become a demigod. A demigod, seriously. You have to look at the fact that now the whole Make America Great Again has now become an entity and an idol unto itself. Nationalism is now the new God. Patriotism is now the new God. Especially when we take patriotism and nationalism and then we take all the humanity out of it. We say America first, nobody else, illegal immigrants. You have no right to speak or protest when that is even in the Constitution. But yet when you take in protest and when you speak against the hypocrisy and the violence and the manipulation and the things that you see, then you are anti-American. But my question is that when has America ever been great to people of color? Ask the American Indian. Ask Japanese people that have been put in internment camps. Ask the descendants of slaves. Matter of fact, ask a black person today. But I'm going to tell you right now, people, black people especially, you better wake up. Because trust and believe, it's going back. It's going back to a time and an age that I never thought that I would ever see. The rise of the radical. And pretty soon it's going to come down to, not only is it the urban cities, but it's the urban people. Seriously, I see that happening. Because, the thing is that if they looking at the city, they looking at the people. If they're looking at these counties, then they are looking at the people. So what makes you think that even though they ain't going to speak the plain language, they'll speak a masked language, coded language? So I'm going to tell you right now, man, wake up and see it for yourself. Because the Bible says that evil communications corrupt good morals or manners. However you want to state it. I'm paraphrasing. But you know what I'm talking about. So my question is, how is it that we can stand by and stay silent? And so we as the black church have to begin to wake up and we have to begin to see, man, we got to get our people out here and vote. We have to get behind candidates. We have to begin to do more than just pray. But we got to begin to get involved. We have to engage, and we got to hold these people to the fire, their feet to the fire, and press them and push them. Now, the only thing I believe is this, is that if you stand in the office of a prophet, you should be in the middle. Because you need to ask yourself who's going to stand for the community of people and not just one aspect of it. Because my question is, you pro-life, but you still allow the death penalty. You're for law and order, but yet you're willing to support people that's going to overthrow a certified election. And the crazy thing is that even though you may call yourselves, we believe in the law, my question is, why is it that you don't believe in the answers from every court that has shot President Trump down? Why is it that we don't believe? And why is it that we putting on a mandate that we have to pray? Because I'm going to tell you, man, look, why is it that you can't accept that sometimes God says no? Seriously. But I'm going to tell you this, if he runs in 2024, and the crazy thing is that he's making a list and he's checking it twice, President Trump is. Oh, who you think are going to stand with him if he runs in 24? the people that are doing this debacle right now. And some of them even have aspirations of their own. I don't put nothing past Ted Cruz. That's the God knows truth. I don't put nothing past half of these dudes. Seriously. Because it comes right down to it like, I'm more concerned about, I know I said I'm going to stand for the Constitution, but I'm more concerned about my constituents. And even though, I stood for defending the Constitution, I'm going to stand with them even though this is wrong. So you actually are compromising. And one thing that I will say is this: what you compromise to keep, you will definitely lose. So get ready for the circus. It's coming to town. And you're going to have the ringmaster out there. You're going to have your chaplains, your pastors, your prophets, everybody out there. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to make a decision, people. You're going to have to make a decision to follow what you believe is right. What do you believe that is true? And that's the God knows truth. And so I'm telling you, man, look, disregard these false fake prophets that will give you doom and gloom because you didn't vote their way. Because the one thing I will tell you this, man, even Jim Jones preached good. Even Jim Jones had a crowd. But at the end of the day, people still wound up dead because they drank the Kool-Aid. And the ones that didn't drink the Kool-Aid, he killed them. So you have to ask yourself, what is the symbolism behind all of this? Basically, it means this, is that you're going to have and you're going to drink what I'm telling you. You're going to fall in line. And you're going to be willing to die for my agenda. And then those that oppose it, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your reputation. I'm going to kill your purpose. I'm going to kill whatever means or any aspirations that you may have because you didn't go along with me. That's what's being said. And the crazy thing about it is that, social media is a battlefield as well. You got many people, man, posting stuff about Kamala Harris, posting stuff about Joe Biden, posting stuff about, the mark of the beast. And just posting all kinds of stuff. And the crazy thing about it is that, everybody's loving it right about now. Because everybody has a platform. Even I do. Because I look at it and I'm like, man, I wonder would it be this big during the MySpace years? Seriously. But I'm here to tell you right now, man, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the other ones, Clubhouse now. Man, everybody has a stage. But the one thing about it is that everybody ain't got truth. And the one thing that I want you guys to understand and know is this. Who's going to stand for the community in which you live? I'm serious. Black people, who's going to stand by us? Who's going to stand with us? Who's going to stand for us? Because we have got to be able to not only, stand, but we got to be able to fight. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, they are trying to dismantle everything with us, starting with the vote. It's bad enough, man, that a majority of us are essential workers and that coronavirus is running through us big time. And so we got to begin to guard ourselves and keep ourselves safe. But I want you, man, to wake up and see what is going on around you. Because just because they got black skin, that soul is definitely white supremacist. Just because they black don't mean they black. And that's the God knows truth. And I'm going to say like Paul Mooney, everybody want to be a nigger, but don't nobody want to be a nigger. Especially when it comes to the black tax and the black burden. But everybody wants the culture. Everybody wants your voice. Everybody wants your power. Everybody wants your money. Everybody wants your soul. But you have to ask yourself, who you going to give your power to? Who you going to give your allegiance to? I'm going to tell you right now, man, it better be to your family. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what government thinks about your family first. Even the ones that call themselves friendly, because I look at it like this. You got the Republican Party, they suppressing votes, and you have the Democratic Party that will use black people and not give them or deliver anything to them. And that has to change. But we got to begin to get involved and to begin to create and hold people accountable. But we as people, man, we've been fickle. We've been too forgiving. And lastly, we've been too forgetful. So, hey, man, all I got to say is when that circus comes to town, I think I'm going to watch it on TV. Because I definitely ain't trying to buy no ticket and go there. Because trust and believe. I ain't trying to be a part of that. And even if I was, I'll probably be on the opposing side. And ain't no telling what might happen. But if you do decide to go to Washington, make sure that you keep your ass safe. And I'm done.
Walk in the truth that makes you free every day. Follow Brother Leon on all social media outlets.